students, it's Mrs. Christensen here. Today we're going to talk about knife safety. We're going to learn the proper technique for cutting vegetables, holding vegetables, washing and storing knives. But first, let's go through a few reminders about working in the kitchen. First things first, make sure to put on your apron. We don't want to get any food on your clothes, especially in the middle of the school day. If you have long hair, make sure to bring hair ties to class and pull it back so that we don't get any hair in our food. If you have a cut on your finger, make sure to put on a Band-Aid. We don't want to get blood in anyone's food. And if you're wearing any rings, make sure to take them off and put them in a safe spot till we're done cooking. Now we're ready to begin. So let's talk about how to pick out the correct knife. For a job like what we're doing today with a cucumber, you're going to want your long chef's knife because the long handle is going to give you the leverage you need when cutting. If you were to use something like a paring knife, it's so small that you'd have to pick up the whole knife between every slice, and this can be more dangerous. You're more likely to get a cut this way. Before we can start cutting, we need to make sure that we wash our vegetables really well. For things like cucumbers that have the skin that will be eaten, you need to make sure that you really get into all of the crevices. You don't want any dirt hiding in it. Now let's talk about how to hold and place a vegetable on our cutting board. You want to find the thicker side. So we have the thinner side here, the thicker side. You want that to be closer to you because it'll give you more leverage when you're cutting. And then go ahead and roll the vegetable around till you find a place where it sits nicely, like so. Now let's talk about how to hold the knife. Lots of people like to hold just the back of the knife or place their pointer finger over, but both of these are incorrect techniques. What you want to do is hold the back with 3 fingers, place your pointer finger on one side of the knife, place your thumb on the other. This will give you more stability as you're cutting and keep things safer. Before we cut, let's talk about how we hold our hands. We don't want to leave our fingers out because we could cut them more easily, so we're going to use a bear claw. Make a little grip with your fingers, pull your fingers in, and that is how you hold the vegetable. Now when it comes to the knife, we want to leave the point of the blade on the cutting board and chop with the back instead of pulling the whole thing up and down. We're a lot more likely to cut fingers that way than we are this way. You can just move the vegetable forward little bit by little bit as you bring the blade down on it. And that'll help you practice making slices. You don't need to worry about going fast. Just take your time and practice. Okay, once you've finished cutting and you're done with your knife, we're going to wash and store it right away to prevent rusting and to make sure that everyone stays safe in the kitchen. We don't want to use a sponge or something because that brings our hand in closer contact with the knife. We're going to use our long scrubby brush. That makes it safer. And then another item, especially if you're using like a sponge or something, you don't want to go down the blade. Not only will that cut the sponge, but it could cut your finger. Get your brush wet, put some soap on, hold the handle, not the blade, and go ahead and give it a good wash. Make sure to rinse it, get all of the soap off. Okay, let's dry our knife now. We're going to grab one of our drying towels. And again, like the sponge, we don't want to go across the blade side. We want to go over the top on the ridge. Make sure that we dry it off so that our blade doesn't rust. And you can carefully dry the handle as you rotate it in your fingers. Once your knife is dry, make sure to put it away immediately. This will prevent any injuries. So bring it over to the knife block and put it away. Great job, everyone. You've learned some of the basic tips for knife safety. I know it's going to be a good year and that we're going to really enjoy our foods classes.